It's April 3rd, 2025, and our newly minted art editor, Walter Liu, can't find the local art scene. Walter's new to the Brownlow area, born in Hong Kong and raised in Toronto, so he's encountering rural Eastern Ontario for the very first time. Strangely enough, I think he likes what he sees. Maybe a little too much. Find out more on Meeting the Goddess. This is Gregaro McCool, the voice of County Fence Biannual magazine, coming to you from deep in the wilderness of Eastern Ontario, for those who prefer an oral tradition to a written one. The stories you are about to hear were released to our print subscribers in real time, but we're releasing one story from the past 2 years on the first and third Thursday nights of the month at 10, free for our new digital audience. Like, subscribe, leave positive reviews, and all that jazz to help bring Eastern Ontario's oldest and most prestigious boundary and fencing publication to a global audience. County Fence magazine has wanted an art editor from day one. Well, here I am, biznatches. Jesus, Walter. That's right. Walter Liu is here to be your guide into the art world of Eastern Ontario, but there's a problem. Actually, a few. I am a member of the internet generation, born in Hong Kong, raised in Toronto, and the first time I was east of Ajax was when Greg suggested I think about moving here. I don't understand your obsession with pastoral post-impressionist landscapes. I'm a digital artist who likes cyberpunk and vaporwave. I want my art to have badass, well-endowed biznatches? Biznatches? I don't know. Kicking ass rather than antique farm equipment and pine trees. That's just not my scene. Speaking of the scene, I can't find it. I know it exists. It has to. This place is catnip for starving artist types. Don't get me wrong. I see the signs. A barn quilt here, piece of driveway art there, and the odd gallery with hours I can't seem to figure out. I know you're here, but it feels like two ships passing in the night. When I asked Greg and Rachel, who grew up here, they just laughed at me and told me I should go to Prince Edward County. Jules rattled off a bunch of very local sounding names I didn't recognize, as if they were household names. None of it helped. Eastern Ontario should be an artist mecca. Why am I not finding it? Why are there not giant art installations on every corner? Why does every third house not have a giant mural on the side of it? I know, quote, the county, end quote, they know there's more than one, right, is full of art galleries. But what artist can afford to live there? Where are the rest? There are a couple galleries near my house. One is run by a cranky old woman who thinks living artists haven't gotten the memo. And the other is pretty good and the owner is friendly, but it's just mostly Dutch bikes leaning on birch trees or seagulls on gray backgrounds. If I put a farm scene on my wall, I want it to have a cyberpunk anime girl looking out at a pink pixel art sky and a futuristic barn. I mean, we have the Northern Lights, and how much more vaporwave can nature get? My question is this. If a large group of people can mostly agree on a mural to put on the side of a building in the city, why aren't there more on any number of the privately owned barns that just seem to be everywhere? I know there is a local art scene. There are galleries, theaters, and active arts councils. I just can't figure out the entry point. And whenever I do, it's all quaint, family-friendly arts and crafts. One thing I've already learned about country living is that it's not about Googling, it's about who you know. But I don't know anyone. One person I do know is Brenda Hogue, Napanee correspondent. Maybe Brenda's not what you picture when you think art aficionado, but famed record producer and all-around spiritual guy Rick Rubin says that being an artist is more a state of being than a job. He says artists are people compelled to live in a certain way, and that makes art inevitable. They may not know why they do it, they just do, and interesting things fall out. Well, Brenda Hogue is one of those people. Her obsession with ironic, retro 80s, blue-collar style and found objects makes art inevitable. Brenda's home is like most others on the street, small bungalow with white aluminum siding and green shutters. This is County Fence Biannual, so I'll mention that she's rocking an early 2000s Home Depot privacy fence to keep the pups in and the looky-loos out that is grayed to a distinguished patina. It's the home she grew up in and where she has been living for the last couple years since her parents passed. A time capsule of gold shag carpet and vintage faux walnut paneling. She's kept some of her parents' mid-century furniture, a chrome and green-yellow Formica kitchen table, a few folk art lamps with tree bark or leather lampshades, a pair of brass tubular frame easy chairs with brown floral print upholstery, and a knockoff Kit Kat clock. It's Brenda's own collections that are the star of the show, though. She's a self-described thriftaholic and flea market shopper for any found objects that are quintessentially 80s. She lives her art, whether it be high-waist acid-wash jeans paired with a padded shoulder animal print jacket or her Tupperware dining set. Speaking of cups, she has a full display cabinet of McDonald's promotional glassware and a bookshelf of VHS tapes 3 deep, half of which are recorded off of television. It's gold. I sat in a vintage rattan egg chair while we listened to a Bryan Adams cassette play from a silver boombox as she took me through her process. Saturday morning, she is up early and on the road, hitting up all the yard sales because she wants to beat the pickers. After that, she goes to her favorite flea market, which I am not to reveal upon penalty of death. She also constantly scans Facebook Marketplace and Kijiji. Always be ready to make a deal, and a little cleavage never hurts, she tells me. And I very much agree. Never take their first offer, and try your best to seem ditzy and disinterested. Brenda Hogue only accepts half price or lower. When I asked Brenda about getting into the local art scene, she told me it mostly happens at home. It's who you know, after all, and she does know a few professional artists. One does tattoos, and the other paints murals for a few different municipalities. The mural painter also works at the GT boutique with Brenda. Mostly, she says, art happens at home as a hobby, passion projects and traded favors. Who could afford otherwise? Spoken like a true artist. After a couple rum and Diet Cokes, I asked whether she had traded anything for an art piece over the years. She keeps an eye out for certain things on her weekly rounds, and they've given her various pieces as thanks. There's a vintage handsaw with the Napanee rail bridge painted on it for her years of gathering rusty tools for a friend. She's got more than a few whirly gigs and other decorations in her backyard she's traded for this or that. Her front entryway has a howling wolf carved from a tree trunk by chainsaw that she traded some Blue Jays World Series commemorative mugs for. But what about canvases, I asked her. And this made her a little sheepish, which only made me more interested. It took some pushing and the rest of her rum and coke for Brenda to lead me downstairs to her little used rec room. Cement floors, more faux walnut paneling, and a drop ceiling, classic rec room stuff. On one end, there was a green shag rug with a couple of couches and an old projection television. The other end had a pool table covered in laundry baskets full of knickknacks. Hung on the wall behind it, though, was the sliding door from an old commercial van with the most epic of 80s van murals. A curvaceous woman riding a giant white wolf wearing nothing but a Viking helmet and a python draped over her shoulders, brandishing a sword with lightning shooting to the sky over an imposing mountain scene, and 2 dragons slithering through the sky, shooting realistic flames to frame the spectacle. I was gobsmacked. It is the last thing I would ever have expected, but also exactly what I should have expected. It might to date be the best thing I have ever seen. I needed a moment to simply take it all in, so I crouched and just stared for what might have been minutes. It was beautiful. And the woman, she was not some lithe waif or artist's muse. She was full-figured and powerful, thick thighs, and these thick thighs really could save lives, and full breasts with a narrow waist and muscles bulging as she and the wolf stare the viewer down menacingly. I offered to buy it on the spot, but Brenda, typically confident, bashfully declined. When I asked why, perhaps I needed to offer more, she simply stood beside it and posed, a little sheepish. Artists only include, and often exaggerate, the most beautiful parts of a scene, and Brenda Hogue may no longer be in a stage of life where she would pose for such a piece, but I saw it. I saw young Brenda there on that wolf, almost life-sized, hanging under a cloudy basement window on a faux walnut wall. And I understood. God, I understood. I can see it, and I am so here for it. As the story goes, Brenda's first boyfriend out of high school, Dwayne, was a local and celebrated van mural artist, but the relationship didn't last. Dwayne got into trouble with some local bikers he was working with and had to flee the country. Brenda thinks he's working some mining job in the outback. Apparently, he was really into Crocodile Dundee. The canvas was his invitation for her to join him, but Brenda Hogue is a small town girl at heart, and what might have been the best pairing of any two people I have ever met ended. Dwayne, if you're reading this, please reach out. I'm a great fan of your work and have fresh walls to fill. But I wouldn't suggest looking Brenda up. I might have to fight you for her.